Hello, this film's about how to write an academic article. Great if you're a postgrad student. So, your introduction is all about setting the scene. This is the first part of your article, and it's the opportunity that you have to showcase your research and your writing skills in this qualitative academic article format, which I'm focusing on for this film. So, this assessment is about assessing your ability to conduct and communicate your research, which is a really important skill for a postgraduate student and when you're a graduate in the workplace. So, ideally, in your journal article, you're going to focus on clarity, logical flow, and demonstrating a deep understanding of your topic. This is really important to write a really good article. So, to start with, think about your aims and objectives. This is really the backbone of your work. Your research aim is the mission that you're going to be on in this research. So, it's the study's central purpose and guiding light. So, I would recommend it be SMART. Remember that acronym? It stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. You don't have much say over the time limits in which you need to do your work, but in terms of being specific, i.e., clearly defining what you're going to investigate, so it's not ambiguous or vague, that it's measurable, that you have some tangible, measurable outcome that can indicate progress or success or otherwise, that it's realistic, so achievable, considering the constraints of the study, your resource constraints, your time constraints, all that sort of thing, and that it's relevant. So it addresses a meaningful question that's aligned with your degree, your research needs, or gaps in the research that you've identified. Your objectives then are actionable steps that support your aim, help you achieve that mission, breaking the aim down into measurable, achievable parts. They often begin with verbs like to assess, to determine, to examine, or to evaluate. This is really important because a strong aim with clear objectives provide direction and focus for your entire study and will probably be what your work is assessed against. This is crucial for good work. So then you move on to your literature review. Go beyond just a summary of what you're reading. It's not just summarising a whole load of papers that you've picked out to read. Your literature review really needs to look again at existing research to critically assess, perhaps reorganise and combine the work of others to provide a foundation and a starting point for your work. So you should be able to identify the gaps, point out any gaps, problems, or disagreements that are in the existing research that your study aims to address and highlight, what new ideas or contributions your work will bring to this party. Think about the theoretical framework in which your work sits, so clearly present the theories that support your study. And why does this matter? It matters because a strong literature review provides the necessary background and supports your work, supports the goals and ideas that guide your own research. So, for an outstanding piece of work here, we need to see a review that shows deep understanding and strong synthesis of the existing research. Then we think about our methodology. So this is all about making choices and, importantly, justifying your choices in your methodology section. So here, being clear is really important. So you need to describe your sampling strategy, things like your target population, the strategy that you followed, the respondent profile, how reliable and robust your data collection methods have been. For example, if you've held interviews or focus groups, how representative is your sample of the target population that you've got? How representative is your sample in relation to the size of the sample compared to the population? So, justification here is really crucial. Explain why you made each choice. Show that your choices are practical and realistic for the study's goals and resources. And explain that others used similar methods, perhaps. And of course, cite their work and reference all your supporting sources. Goes without saying, really, doesn't it? This is really important because a well-justified methodology ensures your research is sound and replicable. Then we move on to results discussion and conclusions. So this is really making sense of that jumbled load of findings of information and data that you've gone out and collected. So firstly, your results. You will be presenting your qualitative findings very clearly and briefly using thematic analyses or descriptions. You need to interpret your results for the reader and consider all possible interpretations. Moving on to your discussion, this is where you interpret your results, linking them back to your aim and objectives, comparing with past research, discussing practical implications, and acknowledging any limitations. You do not add new information into this discussion. Your conclusion is basically a summary of the main contributions of your research and its importance. And these sections are important because they demonstrate your ability to analyze, interpret, and contextualize your research, hopefully culminating in a clear statement of its impact. Here you're aiming for logical conclusions based on evidence that you've collected in previous parts of your research work. So, a few other tips for success. Watch out for word counts. Pay close attention to those for each section. Make sure you add in-text citations and your full references listed at the end. Of course, in the most suitable, correct academic format. Usually, Harvard referencing style is used for STEM, i.e., science, technology, engineering, and maths subjects, for example. Proofread, get rid of any errors because they'll just take the polish off your work. And if there's a marking scheme or a rubric available, use the provided rubric as your checklist for excellence. If you've found this film useful, please like it and subscribe so others can find it easier. And hopefully you'll do a really good research article and have great success and become a first-class student. Bye now.